My name is Justin and this is the very first episode of Conspiracy Party. Conspiracy Party is a podcast where every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, me and Joao get together and talk about different conspiracy theories. Just to give you guys a little bit of a background, Joao here has been a really close friend of mine since like the second grade. And the reason why I got into conspiracies and stuff like this is because of him. In high school, I remember we played music together, and when we weren't playing music, we were watching funny YouTube videos about the Illuminati and stuff like that, which is why our very first episode today, we're going to be talking about the Illuminati. So yeah, what's up, Joel? How you doing?
Yo, what's going on, man? I'm chilling. Ready to discuss a little bit about this and see what we can unravel.
Just a little disclaimer. We're just two guys getting together and talking about conspiracy theories. We don't claim to know anything about this kind of shit. We're not here like saying like any of this stuff is real or not or whatever it is. Like, we're just here having fun with it. So just that little disclaimer there. We're not sitting here with aluminum foil hats or anything like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started, guys. So I'm going to read this little short story about the Illuminati and the history of it. And we're going to just go from there. In the heart of the 18th century, Bolivia, a young idealist named Adam Weishaupt, a professor of canon law at the University of Ingolstadt, felt stifled by the oppressive rule of the church and monarchy. He longed for a society governed by reason, enlightenment, and the principles of freedom. Inspired by the Enlightenment thinkers of his time, he envisioned a secret society that would promote these ideals and challenge the status quo. In 1776, Weishaupt gathered a small group of like-minded individuals, forming the Bolivian Illuminati. They met in a shadowy corner shrouded in a secrecy, which I assume that means they're in the forest, where discussions flourished about philosophy, ethics, and the nature of power. Their mission was to infiltrate the influential circles of society, politics, education, and religion, to spread their ideals and empower the rational mind. As their membership grew, the group attracted notable figures, including philosophers and aristocrats, who were drawn to the promise of enlightenment. They adopted symbols and rituals to foster a sense of unity and purpose, including the all-seeing eye, the pyramid, which represented their quest for knowledge and the pursuit of higher truths. However, their activities soon drew attention of the Bolivian government. In 1785, alarmed by the potential threat posed by the Illuminati's influence, authorities cracked down on the society, banning it and forcing its members into hiding. Weishaupt fled and the group disbanded. But the seeds of their ideas has already been sown in the minds of many. As the years passed, the legacy of the Illuminati transformed. The whispers of the secret knowledge and influence morphed into a tapestry of conspiracy theories in the 19th and 20th centuries. Various groups claimed to be the descendants of the original Illuminati, weaving tales of hidden agendas and world domination into the fabric of popular culture. Music, literature, and film began to reflect this fascination, with artists and writers incorporating the Illuminati symbolism into their works. The all-seeing eye became the mark of the intrigue, while the idea of powerful, hidden elite manipulating world events captured the imagination of many. In present day, the term Illuminati evokes images of shadowy figures orchestrating global affairs. Yet at its core, the Illuminati's history is a story of aspiration, a quest for knowledge, freedom, and the belief in the power of reason to shape a better world. Though the society itself may have faded into obscurity, its ideals and continue to resonate, leaving behind a legacy that fuels both curiosity and skepticism in modern society. So, yeah, that was a big tongue twister of a history. But so that's the Illuminati, at least the history of it. So yeah, I mean, did you know any of that stuff before, Joel?
Well, I mean, I kind of knew a little bit of like I just knew the name Adam Weishaupt, and like it was, part of some kind of like initial plan, I guess, to try to have people like think like from what I understood, like more outside the box and less of like religious type of rationale, and maybe even like to an ethical standpoint too. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's one of those things where how that kind of evolved, and I guess they said that it wasn't an actual secret society after that, after they got exposed or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's now it's become something of like, I think back then when I would, show you videos and we would watch videos back in high school and stuff like that, that was like when I was first introduced by it. And those videos I think were maybe like a year or two old already as well.
Yeah.
So, it definitely goes back way before us, obviously. And but yeah, it's I think nowadays it's more of like the certain people who are alleged members of the Illuminati, like who, like, we usually hear names that were probably people who were like in previous secret societies, maybe like Skull and Bones and stuff like that. That was, I guess, birthed in like Yale University. And there was other people as well. Bush Senior, his dad, probably other people in politics as well that were a part of that too. And that kind of just like, I guess when those connections are made, it kind of, had like, you got to ask questions at that point, so it's, I don't know. It's pretty wild to see like where it's come, and like I feel like it was kind of more of a that people know what the Illuminati is now. Like, oh, okay, it's just, it's some kind of like secret society, but it's, I feel like it's kind of like lost its steam in a way, over the years, but maybe now might be coming back a little bit in other ways. So maybe not necessarily named the Illuminati. It can be in different ways that it's like being reintroduced. There's a lot of conspiracy theories I feel like people are like talking about, and I think you made a point about this like before as well when we spoke about it, that a lot of the older generation of people, when we were exposed to this stuff, weren't necessarily, they didn't really, I would say, believe in it, but like, I don't know. I think you put it better. I'm not sure. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like what I'm referring to when you?
Yeah, I think I remember talking about that with you. Yeah, it was pretty much like, I remember like in high school looking up this kind of stuff, like 10 years ago or over 10 years ago at this point. And, talking to our parents about it and them being like, bullshit or whatever. But like, here we are like now in modern day, and like, all these people that were like in like the boomer kind of generation, are now kind of discovering like social media and Facebook, mostly Facebook and YouTube and stuff. And like now that they're seeing that and they're seeing all the stuff that we were seeing 10 years ago, now it's like, I think that's why you see like people talking about like the deep state, which is like, I think that's like the new Illuminati, right? Like,
right.
Or you hear people talking about like the deep state and being like, oh, the deep state's doing this or whatever. And I think that word gets thrown around a lot more now than the Illuminati. Because before, it was like the Illuminati. And I think the Illuminati is just kind of like, it's just like this big, like, it's pretty much like everything is kind of brought in, like Skull and Bones, the deep state, any other secret society, it kind of gets looped in all together with the Illuminati. So it's almost like just something that people say because they know that most people know what the Illuminati is now.
Right.
Like even like there's like interviews with like celebrities and stuff where they talk about it, or like I don't know if you've seen that one video or Jim Carrey on that late night show. And he comes out and shit. He's like, I'm a member of the Illuminati. He's like, oh, he's fucking. But like, it's it's almost like, people just use the Illuminati now as like is just a way to say like there is like some sort of secret society behind a lot of these things and stuff. And, like it may not necessarily be the Illuminati itself. It's just like a way to explain it.
Right.
And like, Skull and Bones was another one. I think it's more likely that it's more to do with like, I don't know if you heard like the 13 families. Pretty much like the 13 families, pretty much like, I guess like the best way to put it is like what people are talking about when they say like the 1%, like people that like really do run the world and like, um, just because like they have power and influence and like, wealth, pretty much like all the billionaires and stuff. Uh, just like yeah, the concept of the 13 families like refers to the conspiracy theory that like a small group of people or a small like group of powerful families control global affairs, particular in finance, politics, all that kind of stuff. Um, so right here it says the 13 families are the Rothschild family, which I'm sure people have heard of the Rothschilds. Rockefeller, that's another one. The Morgan family, which JP Morgan, the banking.
Yep.
The DuPont family, which was originally involved in the gunpowder and chemical industries. The Bush family, which everyone knows the Bushes. The Clinton family, once again, everyone knows the Clintons. It says the Biden family, which I didn't know that Joe Biden was involved. This is the Lee family, often associated with influential Asian families in the global business and finance, particularly in connection with Lee Kuan and the Yu family in Singapore. Let's see, I don't know how to say this one. The Agnelli family. So they're known for their ownership of fiat and significant influences in European businesses. The Oppenheimer family, which I don't think has anything to do with the Oppenheimers in the movie, but associated with the diamond mining industries, significant in South Africa. There's another family here. It says Pritzker family. So I'm going to assume that's Pritzker family, known for their wealth of the Hyatt hotel chain and significant holdings in various industries. If I'm pronouncing these things wrong and you guys are listening, please feel free to comment and tell me and say these things. Soros family, obviously George Soros is a prominent financier and philanthropist. I don't know why I can't say that word either. Known for his influence in the global finance and political activism. And then 13 is the Windsor family, the British royal family, which has been central to British history and politics. So I think like when people are talking about the Illuminati and all these things, they're like referring to like these families. They're referring to, I think just like prominent figures that had the whole power. And once again, like that can mean like a lot of things. Like we talked about Disney being involved, or like there's lots of conspiracies going with, Disney, where like you watch some cartoons and there's weird symbolism and like showing like swastikas and random shit like that. That it gets a little bit more far fetched when you go down those rabbit holes, but yeah, that's pretty much like what I think. It's mostly just referring to like that, like the 13 families. It kind of makes sense to me that like, that those families are the ones kind of pulling the strings behind the scenes there. But yeah, what do you think about all this?
I mean, yeah, because it's like, all right, so you have like the influence and power from these families, right? Like, let's say, because a lot of what these conspiracies is, it's kind of like you got to ask the question, like, how do you say a plausible thing that can happen? Like, is it possible that they can somehow, come together and, create some kind of system in order to control those facets of life? So like, I would say, yeah, like I would say it is. Like if they really wanted to, they can somehow try to influence as much as they can and gain power and keep that power. And so who's to say that's not a thing, like I don't know. But at the same time, like what would their goal be? That's another thing too. Like we hear a lot of these different, conspiracies that like, oh, it could be for some kind of, global control, a one world order, as like, new world order is what we hear a lot as well. Like, yeah. And what that means, I don't know. Is it like population control? Is it like just to get people to become dumber essentially and be oblivious to a lot of these things that are happening? because that would be a really good way for them to kind of execute their plans, right? If we were just kind of like, we didn't know any better. And yeah, so who knows? It's just definitely, I just say, tale as old as time, like, it's just, as far as our trust in the government, I feel like nowadays it's been kind of diminished,
Yeah.
so a lot of people are questioning a lot of things, like what the hell, the FBI, the CIA has been known to do some weird shit. Like they've been in some shenanigans over the years as well. And it's just like, so and our government in general was kind of dipped their toes into some weird stuff as well. And like a lot of questionable decisions have been made. A lot of weird, how do you say, like operations and stuff like that have been conducted by our government that I guess begs the question too, like, well, is that connected at all to what that is? So who knows? I mean, it's definitely crazy to think about that at the end of the day, like for normal people like you and I, just everyday people working and how much like influence and power do we really have,
Yeah.
as far as like these billionaires, multi-billionaires that have an insane amount of money and power and control, and they have their hands kind of like in everything, really, in media, in like news companies, in politics and stuff like that, so I don't know, man. It's pretty crazy to think about once you start getting there, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And a lot of it's like kind of being shown already, where it's like, especially when you talked about like the media and stuff. For instance, like I know George Soros, like the Soros family for sure owned a lot of like media outlets and stuff. I think it's I might be wrong, but I believe he owns CNN, or at least the family is a part owner or something like that. And then, yeah, like even with Fox, like I'm not sure what family owns that, but like, yeah, like I believe it's going to be like in the 13 families. They kind of like they all own different facets of these.
Yeah.
As far as like the term New World Order, that's been used in like various contexts throughout history. For instance, like post World War I and II, the phrase began to gain traction after World War I, particularly in the establishment of the League of Nations, P19, which aimed to promote peace and prevent the future conflicts of after World War II, the establishment of the United Nations in 1945, and further propagated the idea of global order aimed to fostering international corporations. So like the Cold War era too, the concept of New World Order was often used in the context of the ideology, the struggle between capitalism and communism, and the idea of global governance. So we were talking about before, George H.W. Bush's speech is kind of what made the term New World Order like gain its prominence in the early 1990s when H.W. Bush used it in a speech in 1991, referring to the new era of international cooperation following the end of the Cold War and the Gulf War. That term has just been used, and like I think that with that being used so much, like people have used it and like said like, what do they mean by that? Like New World Order and stuff, and then all these kind of conspiracies came out of it. And then obviously the Illuminati is the first thing that people think about when they hear those things now.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's, yeah. I think at this point, like, with the help of like YouTube and like social media and stuff like that, a lot of people have been like seen that speech, obviously. So it's really well known. But I could have sworn there was like a few others. I know, obviously, what's his face? President Reagan ended up having a similar, something similar. I remember it was about like some alien invasion that he was talking about. Like, well, what if we were like, threatened by an alien race or something that wanted to take us over? Like, we would all have to come together and all the nations of the world would have to come together and kind of like, I mean, I forget what that was in context to, if it was maybe something having to do with a similar topic, with, I guess, how do you say, economy and stuff like that, like the economy as a whole, like how we would have to survive. I'm not too sure. I have to kind of see what that was about again, but still, yeah. And then when it comes to all that stuff, yeah.
I mean, just to add to what you're saying about Ronald Reagan, like I know that he spoke about UFOs on a few occasions. I know he famously mentioned a UFO sighting that he had when he was flying in a private plane in California.
Yeah.
And I think that was like a huge deal because that was like really the first time that a president really talked about like his own like I guess sighting of UFOs. I know that's kind of going off topic there, but like, yeah, that's definitely like, it's definitely like a lot of presidents that talked about UFOs too. Like I know like Jimmy Carter did, Harry Truman, like Obama talked about it, Bill Clinton talked. I mean, I'm sure he's talked about it. Like, I mean, now it's like, it's not really a big deal when they talk about it, right? Like,
yeah,
like,
we want to see a body at this point. We're like, let's see it. What do you guys got? You know, I feel like a lot of us, but a lot of that comes from like pressure from like the people, you know, like if we, you know, it's like we keep asking, it's like, come on, like tell us something, give us something. I mean, you guys are kind of giving us little bits, like we don't know, you know, but we, you know, it's like, it's still unknown to them. And like, and I feel like a lot of people think that it's not unknown to them. Like they know exactly like what's going on and we just want some transparency. And yeah. And when people want to know about, you know, the Illuminati and stuff like that, I don't think we'll ever really get it clear unless some crazy shit happens, like, you know, but when it comes to the UFO topic, yeah, definitely it's, you know, some of it goes hand in hand because a lot of these people who are in positions of power, kind of like Elon Musk, for example, you know, he has a lot of influence in SpaceX and obviously that's his company and he might know something. Or I feel like who was it? Like I don't know if it was a congressperson or somebody who spoke about it, but I know there was like, you know, Air Force pilots that were, you know, like they were under oath and they had to talk about it as well. I think it was a Commander Fravor or something like that. And pretty much he was the one who was like, who witnessed that. It was like Tic Tac UFO, I think. Yeah. That went, you know, it got pretty famous. And so stuff like that, you know, like we kind of getting like little things here and there. But as far as like how that, is that part of some kind of manipulation, you know, to kind of keep our eyes off something else? I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, definitely like it makes sense that like these UFO sightings and stuff like the drones and stuff that happened recently is definitely like kind of a way to like deter people from like what's going on in the world and stuff like that. And that's what people say when they say people that are controlling the narrative and stuff on mainstream media and stuff like that to kind of tell you what they want you to know. And that's been something that's been going on in like, not even just us, like pretty much any big like society, any country throughout the history of the world has used propaganda, you know, to deter like the people from whatever is happening.
Right.
There is a connection between the Illuminati and aliens as far as it's been popular in conspiracy theories. I know the historical Illuminati was founded obviously in 1776 and was not aliens, but like one of the central themes behind it is like both the Illuminati and alien conspiracy theories is the idea of hidden knowledge. So pretty much it's like the idea of like having a knowledge and global control and stuff. And it's like, it's almost like a higher being. And when people think of higher beings, they think of either gods or aliens. Yeah. And, you know, when like, for instance, like people talk about like ancient aliens and shit, like those TV shows where they talk about the pyramids being built by aliens because there's no way that like human beings were able to do all this shit and stuff. Yeah. You can't even like do that stuff today, really. And so it's like, this idea that, and that's where like reptilians come in and stuff, right? Like people talk about the Klingons being reptiles and shit, you know, like the gas and all that stuff. Yeah. And like, it's definitely like aliens and the Illuminati have kind of gone hand in hand in modern conspiracy culture and stuff like that. But yeah, on that note, I think we should take a quick break and we'll be right back. And I think we're almost ready to wrap this thing up. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a break and we'll be right back. Cool. And we're back. Thanks for listening this far, if you're still listening. And once again, this is Conspiracy Party. For those of you that follow Disaster Party Entertainment, um, this is something new that we're doing. We usually do like music interviews and stuff like that. We do a lot of things that have to do with music, but this is just like a little fun thing that, I wanted to add on. That's going to be like a separate thing from all that. So if you guys are into this kind of stuff, conspiracy theories, if you have any conspiracies that you want us to cover, you can obviously like send us a message. You can leave a comment on this video when it goes up, and you can let us know about any of that stuff. Also, once again, we don't claim to be experts on any of this stuff. So if we get some of the material wrong, or if we get some of these facts wrong, please don't, feel free to like tell us we're full of shit.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. I mean, if you guys have some information as well on like some of this stuff, it's always good to know more information on it. If you guys know a little bit more about the subject, or if there's anything particular that you guys find out about it, yeah, just let us know, and we'll keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, getting back into it, one thing we haven't covered about the Illuminati yet, and this is like pretty much what got, I think, both of us into the idea of the Illuminati, was like the idea of the Illuminati being involved in the music industry and like, Hollywood, I guess, in general. But most of the time when you think of like prominent figures in the music industry that have been involved or allegedly are involved in the Illuminati, you think of like Jay-Z, always throwing out the sign stuff. And like, you think of Kanye West, which, which like there's been a lot of weird shit with Kanye West lately and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so maybe he's not a part of it anymore. But like, you think of like that, right? Like Jay-Z, Kanye West, Beyonce, Rihanna, and like you see a lot of the symbolism that we're talking about in like those music videos and stuff.
Yeah.
So personally, I think that like these artists know that like they're, that people like say that they're a part of the Illuminati, and they kind of use that to their advantage. So they put these things into their videos, or maybe they might purposely do that shit to like, like I said, like you see the signs and stuff out. I think a lot of it might just be purposely done to kind of create that lore behind it. Like Led Zeppelin even like talked about like selling their soul to the devil and stuff. And like Jimmy Page had like Aleister Crowley's house and stuff. And I feel like it's just like you kind of get into that like a culty shit when you're famous. Huh?
Aleister Crowley. Imagine being at that fucker's house.
I mean, dude, Jimmy Page lived there.
Jesus Christ. That's wild though. That's what I'm saying. Like, cause you don't know, right? Cause like, it's one of those things where, like I was saying, it could be something, it could be nothing. It could be like, like with the Illuminati as a whole. Like we talked about them having some kind of control, right? And like, what better way, to influence and control people? Like, we start getting into like MK Ultra shit, right? Like mind control, and like, people are exposed to things so many times that they start to kind of like, become accustomed to it. And, and it's one of those things where like, I remember seeing a lot of those videos, a lot of music videos, and the Illuminati videos we were referring to earlier that we would watch had a lot of that stuff, right? A lot of connections. Like Eminem, for example, was really known for a lot of his, like a lot of weird shit in his music and lyrics, right? And I think he did bring up New World Order in one of his songs. I think it's fucking Lose Yourself. He says something about it in that. So it's wild. I think Rihanna had, like, was it Umbrella, the Umbrella music video, that she's just like in a triangle the entire time, like just all like oiled up, all black. It's just weird, like just a weird like color scheme and gradient to the video. And at some point, she remember that she like puts her arms behind her, and it's like the person narrating the video was like, "There's no way a physical body can do this motion, so why show it?" And it's just like, but I guess like it's in such a way that it looks like a goat's face, or like the Baphomet or something,
Yeah.
And I think it was like, oh, she's Satanist, like, and it became this whole thing. And Jay-Z, was it Katy Perry? a lot of these artists have like this, like, just, there's a pattern of that kind of like satanic, like occult kind of weird stuff that they show in their music videos and some of their performances too.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's weird to see like that stuff. It's kind of like, all right, some of it can maybe be like, all right, they're maybe they're trolling us or something, but like, what the hell, like, it's a bit much, like everybody do it, like, come on,
Yeah.
Drake, he has some weird stuff, the owl as well, like a lot of these weird symbolisms and like, I guess, subliminal messages that we see with that. And even kind of goes into film too. But
Yeah.
and it's wild.
Well, I mean, from personal experience, I can say like the owl thing, like owls are just cool animals. Like for instance, my stage name,
Nah.
like the music is JV Owl. And I'm not rich. I'm not famous. Like I don't fucking get any, I don't have any of the benefits of this shit. So like, sometimes I think it's just like coincidence or whatever. But then like, but even like with modern day artists and stuff like Lil Nas X and shit, like where he had that video that everyone was like freaked out about because he was like grinding on the devil and shit, like all that crazy shit. But like, it's not really called the Illuminati anymore. I notice it's more of just like about like, oh, they're the occult. And I feel like it's been something that I know when me got into it in high school, like it was really kind of like a left wing idea. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like conspiracy theories and all that shit was like a really like democratic left wing kind of like hippie thing to believe in. But once again, when I talk about like the boomers kind of like catching up with it 10 years later and stuff, and a lot of the boomers are like kind of more in like the conservative, field of it, or more in the right wing. And I feel like they kind of like adopted this, but instead of calling it the Illuminati, it's more of just like, oh, they're Satanists or they're, they believe in the occult.
Right.
And that's where you see like, people talking about Lil Nas X, for instance, saying like that music video was like complete, and like, it was like a completely satanic looking video and stuff, but like maybe he did that because he knew it would piss people off.
It's true.
And like Sam Smith did that performance at, I think it was like the Grammys a couple years ago or something, where like it was also just like a lot of like satanic shit going on.
Yeah. And the whole thing with the Olympics too, right? Everyone was like shitting their pants over the performance at the Olympics.
Oh, wasn't it their Gorgia or is that what they're called?
Gojira, yeah, I think.
Gojira,
and it's a banging band, but like it's still, yeah, I see what you mean though, yeah.
Yeah, like so it's almost like it's like evolved into just more of like a religious kind of like, it's like, these satanic whatever against like us and stuff, or against us good Christian conservative people or whatever it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's like, and that's why it's like, it's not so much to call the Illuminati, it's just more of like the deep state now is what it's referred to as.
Yeah. Deep state agenda.
Yeah. Which, there's obviously weird shit there and stuff. And I feel like people make the mistake of just like writing it all off as like, it's all bullshit and stuff. But then there's shit like this actually happened. It's been proven. It's like happens in front of us. And it's like, well, what's that then? Like maybe it's not a secret society doing it, but there's something going on,
Right.
And, for instance, like, there's this private exclusive club in Monterey, California called Bohemian Grove. And, they're known for like their annual gatherings of some of the most powerful and influential people in the world, mostly, actually just men, I think. I think they only let men in. And, just kind of going into the history of that, it was founded in 1872 by a group of San Francisco-based artists and journalists. So, artists and journalists weren't really necessarily the most powerful people in the world, but they somehow, got a lot of these powerful people into it. In 1899, the Bohemian Club was officially established as an all-male club. Yeah, it was all-male. That included artists, musicians, business leaders, and the club's membership expanded into including prominent figures from various sectors, including politics, finance, and technology. So that seems to be a reoccurring thing that keeps going in, like politics, finance, and technology, because like they're really huge industries. I mean, politics, I guess, isn't really an industry, kind of is, but kind of is, right? But finance, technology, definitely huge industries and stuff that have a lot of money involved in, most likely like the 13 family kind of shit.
Right.
Um, and yeah, so like the actual location of Bohemian Grove spans approximately 2,700 acres of redwood forest and is located along the Russian River. The site features rustic cabins, a theater, and a large outdoor stage where various performances and ceremonies take place during the gathering. So this happens each July, and they host a 2-week encampment known as the Bohemian Grove. So members participate in a variety of activities, including concerts, lectures, theatrical performances, and gatherings. And they're known for their secrecy and exclusivity. Ah, Jesus Christ. And then, yeah, so there's like a lot of rituals and ceremonies that go on in these things. One of the most notable aspects of Bohemian Grove is the rituals, including the cremation of care ceremony, which is a symbolic event that involves burning an effigy that is thought to represent the shedding of worldly concerns. And the ceremony has drawn attention and speculation about its meaning and significance. So I think that's where they burn the owl, like the owl god. So that's what when the owl.
Oh yeah, that's right. Right.
I think that's what it is. So some of the notable members over the years has been presidents, such as like Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and a lot of like, just business magnates, prominent political leaders, a lot of actors and stuff. So like, I know Clint Eastwood was actually a part of it.
Oh shit.
And yeah, there's just like a lot of shit around that. And this is something that happens, this happens every year. Like this isn't like a conspiracy, like this thing happens. And where it starts getting weird and conspiracy theory is like, I know that a long time ago, Alex Jones actually infiltrated it one year.
Right. Yeah.
And,
True.
And like he actually got like one of the, I think he got that, he got like this one like weird, this one weird ritual thing on camera where they're burning this thing that kind of looked like a baby or like a child.
Well, was it the cremation of care? Was it?
It might have been, it might have been the cremation of care. So maybe it's different from the owl thing, but I know they burn a lot of shit apparently. So, well, yeah, like, there's just like so many aspects of like things that just kind of draw back into like the idea of the Illuminati. And once again, this is like brings me back to my point of like, I think that the Illuminati is just kind of like an all-in-one kind of like way to explain all this shit that goes on in the world, and just like what explains, these weird happenings that happen and stuff between like billionaires and just like really notable figures and stuff that are like in the entertainment business or in politics or like technology or business or whatever it is. They all seem to be a part of these groups and stuff, and it seems like we're not invited. So,
sure.
So I think that's a good way to like wrap it up, into like one thing is like the Illuminati is it's just kind of all these things put together in one, and this is just people's way of explaining it. So I don't know, anything you want to add to that before I think we're almost done here?
I know. Yeah. I mean, that's essentially like kind of what it boils down to, but we'll probably circle back to it. I mean, obviously, like we said, it covers so much that there's other conspiracy theories that might tie into it as well. So there's more to it that we find out. We'll definitely cover that as well. But yeah, if any of y'all have more to add, or just let us know what you guys think the Illuminati is. You think it's one person? You think it's a group of people? You think it's just bullshit? Just let us know. So
definitely. I think we're going to go ahead and close it out. But for everyone listening, thank you guys for joining Conspiracy Party. This is our first episode. And hopefully we're going to keep doing this like every 2 weeks or so. That we covered a lot of stuff today. I think we just hit like the tip of the iceberg on a lot of these things. Like Bohemian Grove is its own episode.
Yeah, that's true.
Same with like Freemasonry and like just there's so much to get into with all these things that I don't even know where to start. So like we're just going to keep doing these things. And if you guys have any ideas, once again, any conspiracies you want us to go over, feel free to leave that in the comments and tell us what's up, because we don't really know shit. So thank you guys for joining Conspiracy Party. You can stream this on Disaster Party Entertainment's Spotify account. And you can also stream this on YouTube, which will be up on the Disaster Party YouTube, the channel as well. And I think it gets published to other things too. I just forget some of that, like Apple Podcasts and shit too. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. My name is Justin, and
I'm Joao. Thank you, Jerry.
all right. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Peace out.